All right, Andrew. So I'm going to interview you a little bit today about your music history, music taste, music experiences. So I'd like to start this off with, what type of music do you like to listen to?
It's kind of, I don't know if it's hard. It's kind of hard for me to like pick certain genres. I guess I listen to like a lot of different ones, not too many. I listen to like a lot of ambient stuff, kind of like, I don't know, a lot of synth stuff. I would say, listen to synthwave. I listen to some like goth music. I would say, I don't know. I listen to like a lot of indie music as well. I think I kind of like. It's kind of hard to put like a genre on it because I don't know if like what I would define it as, but it would probably fall under some sort of indie or like like electronic indie do like stuff. Like I think that's overall what I listen to. But I've definitely listened to like a lot of other stuff too. I think I've mostly listened to like a lot of alternative indie stuff when I was younger, like in middle school, high school. I listened to a lot of that. I remember Foster the People being like the first like band like my mom like bought like a CD for that like I knew of, and like we listened to that like so much in the car, and I feel like my taste kind of went from there.
Nice. What's goth music? Never heard of goth music.
I don't really like I don't really like the whole like scene of it. I think a lot of their stuff is kind of interesting and cool. They have a lot of like synth stuff. They have a lot of like drum kits that are like a lot of percussive effects now. Like that's kind of how it is now. Back in the day, it's kind of more of like a guitar-y thing. My mom kind of listened to like some of the music like Depeche Mode, The Cure, considered like new wave, but like also like that was kind of like what started like a lot of like goth stuff I think as well. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to like describe that too, but I would say it's a lot of synth, probably a lot of like darker tones. I would say a lot of the themes and the lyrics are kind of dark. So when I listen to it, I'm like, how am I listening to this like so often? I'm like, this isn't really what I'm thinking about. I just kind of like the way this sounds, you know.
No, I agree.
But I think it's kind of an interesting thing to listen to. I think.
Nice. So we established that you like listening to music. What are some of the best environments that you like to listen to music in? Or does the environment have an impact on the experience for you?
For sure. I mean, definitely like when I'm in my room in the apartment, I kind of just like to like throw like a speaker on. Like that's the way I kind of like to have it. I find sometimes like in the AirPods, it could be too much in my ears, you know. But when I'm in the apartment, I kind of like to have it on like the speaker because it can kind of go through the apartment. I can sit there, do my homework, and listen to it. It kind of goes throughout the apartment. You know, especially I'll put it in like a little corner, like so like the sound kind of echoes out a little bit more. But I would also say like I love to listen to like live music, especially like a concert hall. Nice. I think any of the things I've gone to for the anthropology music class, I really enjoyed. Like, and I think when I hear them, I'm like, this sounds so good live. Like the We All Break, to hear that live was crazy. Yeah. That was crazy. I was like, damn.
Brazilian guitar.
But I actually have not really ever been to that many like live like concerts like of like artists. I've been to like symphonic concerts and things like that. But like I think the first live concert I went to was like the Mount Joy concert like 2 weeks 2 or 3 weeks ago. My girlfriend bought me a ticket because my roommate and his girlfriend were going. So they were like, you have to come. I was like, all right, I'll come. And it was cool. So maybe not like my stuff that I like to listen to as much, but it was a good experience. But
a lot of people were talking about that.
Yeah, it was a cool set. What they have on Brown's Island is really, really cool.
I'm gonna have to check out some of their stuff. I never heard of their band before, but like they were getting a lot of buzz though. Like,
it's kind of like a happy, feel good indie rock kind of group, I would say. And kind of like a psychedelic sort of thing that they go for.
Cool.
But and then next Thursday for fall break, I'm actually going to Charlottesville, and this guy George Clanton is playing there, and I've recently found him. He's been like I really like his couple albums, and he especially just like came out with one I've been listening to a lot.
Nice. Not familiar with him, but let's check him out. Okay. So would you say live music in your room are the best environments for music with speakers?
I think I kind of like to listen to it more in my room, honestly. I feel like I can listen to more stuff, you know what I mean? I have more, obviously, control of what I want to listen to at that point. I think going to see live music is a great experience, obviously, and like hearing it is like hearing it in a completely different quality than you do on a speaker. But to have it in your like on your speaker on demand, choose what you want, you know what I mean, to fit what you want to feel is just like you know, unbeatable. It's like it's just therapeutic for you, especially, you know, after a long day of school, you come back, it's like, just gonna sit here and listen to this music.
Mm-hmm. Nice. What made you want to play trumpet?
So, I mean,
how'd you get a trumpet?
My dad had a trumpet like in the house, and like it came to like elementary school, you had to play like an instrument, pick an instrument for fourth grade at least. And I was like, well, you know, my dad has a trumpet. Let me play the trumpet so we don't have to like rent a trumpet from the school or like buy a trumpet, you know, cost effective. And I was like, you know, trumpet's cool enough, you know, trumpet's got some cool stuff. I didn't really know at that point, I suppose, but then in fourth grade, you know, I guess I was like pretty good at it because I had like played it a couple times in like the house. So I kind of knew the general way to play the trumpet. But then I would say in like fourth grade, I was like learning how to do it in like, you know, some of our like lessons that we would have as like a section. I think I kind of like learned a lot. I was like, oh, scales. And then like eventually, so for New York State, we have NISMA, which is like the solo competition that we have. So I got like asked by the band teacher to do that. So then like I had to get a private lesson teacher, which I went to like the local music center. And I actually found like a pretty good teacher that I stuck with for like years to come. But I basically did NISMA and like basically every year after that until I was a senior. I guess it's not NISMA until I'm like a sophomore. Like when I was a sophomore, that's not when it stopped. And NISMA, it's like level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Mm-hmm. And like once you get to 6, you're basically playing like the main like solo repertoire of the trumpet. But then when you go to like when you're in junior senior year, you have the chance to like do like an all-state audition. So that's like when you like play with like an accompanist and then like usually play like a little bit of a harder piece to like get competitive. And I did that both years. And I qualified for all-state in my senior year, but I didn't get in. I didn't get in, but I got called to score. So I was like, I feel validated by this. And then, you know, I was also in just like so much stuff in like high school when I played the trumpet. Like I kind of like didn't really have a choice. I think when it comes down to it, my parents kind of expected me to do all this stuff, and like I'm just sort of like inherently like, okay, I'll do this stuff. Like I'm not really gonna question. I just sort of did it, and I sort of like, yeah, that's how it kind of like led off from there.
That's great. Okay, so how would you say your music experience has changed since you have been in college?
Do you mean in terms of listening or playing or like
anything that comes to mind? Yeah, anything.
So I think it comes to playing, I think certainly a lot has changed. I think I consider my playing of trumpet to be like a lot more of like a solo passion compared to like maybe what I thought it was in high school, where I thought it was like I'm just doing it to do it. You know what I mean? Now in college, now I'm kind of like finishing out with it as a senior. Like I'm kind of left with like the question of like, okay, like how do I feel about this? You know what I mean? like I put so much time and so much effort into it. It's like, and I love playing the trumpet. It's like, but am I going to continue playing in the future? And I think like a lot of like what like a lot of my playing is now is like, you know, yeah, I actually do like playing this, you know, whether I'm playing like seriously or not as seriously as I once was, you know what I mean? I certainly enjoy playing it and having it in my life. I think a lot of what I've done in my lessons kind of establishes a sort of like routine in how you practice. And I think especially with trumpet, there's something very like therapeutic about breathing and having to like go up your air. So like when I do like a warm up in my lesson, or like not even in my lesson, just anytime I do a warm up, sort of just kind of like a nice like easy routine that I can do, and it's like the same thing every time. So it's like a little almost like spiritual and like it's routine, I think, and that you can kind of just like take the time to like relax and like practice the trumpet, even though you wouldn't think that's that relaxing. But I would say from my listening aspect, my music taste has probably just like progressed pretty like reasonably. I think I've definitely found a lot of music through things like Pandora, like originally in like high school and like middle school when Pandora was kind of like still a thing. I don't really know if that's like used as much anymore, but
nice.
Then I remember, I guess I would say I would say I've done like a lot of like using more like technology and the stuff I've listened to music with. I kind of like use that more in how I listen to my music, you know what I mean? Like I used Spotify more. In high school, I never had like a Spotify premium account, and then like finally after like I graduated, I was like, I gotta buy this. This is ridiculous. Like, come on now.
I see YouTube.
That's basically what I was doing with an ad block. But yeah, so like, you know, and I think there's been so many more developments in like how these technologies work to like where we can just sort of find more music that is especially similar to like what we like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't know how like these algorithms work entirely. I think sometimes it kind of recycles a lot of stuff, honestly. But like once they improve further, you know, who knows what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Okay. If you could learn another instrument, which one would you want to learn?
It's a hard question. It would probably be between guitar and piano. Although, you know, kind of a dark horse to be the French horn. But that's if it had to be a brass instrument, it would be French horn. But otherwise, I hear it's a pretty painful instrument to play, so it probably wouldn't be French horn. But I think it would honestly probably be like guitar. I think there's so much stuff to play on guitar, you know what I mean? So much stuff you listen to, you're like, oh, that'd be so cool to play on a guitar, you know what I mean? But like, I don't know. I think guitar would be the coolest one to play, definitely because you can play all the stuff you listen to.
Mm-hmm.
But the most fundamental one to play would be like piano. I would learn so much by playing piano, like actually learning piano.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that would like truly, truly help me. So it's kind of like, you know,
That'd be cool.
a little tie. But I would say if I had to choose, it would be the guitar because it'd be the most fun.
Nice. So, what are some core moments or memories that you have that you associate with the trumpet?
Well, I think definitely a lot in high school, and like now more days I've kind of like identified more with it as like a personal passion. But like so I feel like I have less moments now in college. It's kind of like routine I do every semester. But there's definitely been some highlights in college as well. But I would say starting in high school, you know, like I was in marching band, and I kind of didn't like marching band at first, but eventually, like, you know, I got to be a senior, and I was like the head section leader of our marching band. Our marching band for like our high school was massive. It was like 350 students.
Wow.
In my trumpet section.
That was my whole high school.
It was a massive, massive marching band. We weren't competitive or anything, but we were a massive marching band. And like my section that year was like 55 students, including me. So it was 54 other students. But I was like the head section leader, like in charge of all that. And like that year too, like I was also like one of like the leaders of the pep band and that stuff. And like, I don't know, I think that was like an overall just like a highlight year because like I was able to finally like kind of like be like a lead trumpet in like the school. Like I was always like the number two to like my very, very good friend. And like honestly, I would be the number two to him because I would just love to play with him. But like to have that year where I'm kind of like, you know, out there like, okay, like, you know, I'm like the leader of like the trumpets now. Like I think that was like kind of like a nice experience because I was like, wow, that's like awesome. But I think in college, I think it's really just kind of been like a fun experience to like keep playing the trumpet. I think my lessons with Doc Davison, definitely a highlight. Anytime we have a lesson, you know, it's like we come and we chat for a little bit. Sometimes I'll bring him like a little treat, a little brownie or something from the dining hall because I usually work before. And then we just kind of have a good time. You know, sometimes, you know, lessons get heated if I haven't been practicing, but generally when I practice, we have a good time. And I would say sophomore year, I went for the concerto competition. And like, I didn't get it. I got like 4th out of 5th place, but like, that was a tremendous task. And to like overcome that, I was like, you know, at the end of that, I was like, regardless of what I got, like I was proud of what I did. Like to memorize like a full like solo and then like perform it with the accompanist, and then you were in front of like people from like Richmond Symphony Orchestra. I was like, that was a challenging moment. That was really a challenging moment. But I would say now, in my current year, gotta be a highlight has to be now like leading the little big band. You know what I mean? Like I think it's fun now. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of like on us. You know what I mean? It's I feel like sometimes it's a little dicey because I'm like, I don't know if I'm the best conductor. You know what I mean? But I'm like, you know, I think I do a pretty good job of uniting us at least. But
yeah. All right. Well, one more quick question. What is the first song that comes to mind of the first song you've ever loved?
The first song I've ever loved.
What's the first one that comes to mind?
Give me like a couple seconds to think about this. The first one I ever loved, ever.
Yeah.
I think we would go back to the Foster the People album. I think like that, their first album, the Torches album. I love Helena Beat.
Nice.
Helena Beat is just a banger.
Nice. And on that note, that's the end of the interview. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.